imminent stalls, falls, and the emergency course reversal. So here we are back in the cockpit of the FireBoss, and at this point we just took off from Mineral Wells, and I'm just playing with the airplane right now, seeing the yarn dance out on the ailerons. I try and elicit an aileron stall here just to see what the yarn did. Here's a side cockpit view of just throwing in full left aileron, and a pretty good view of what the yarn does here in just a second. You throw that aileron hard over, you actually do get separation. As you see right there, that yarn started separating from that aileron, getting a little bit of a stall over the top there. Now we're back in the cockpit, and this is going to be a little slow flight with no flaps, just to see the yarn start dancing and where it starts dancing on the wing. Starting to get a little bit of separation inboard and a little bit of separation right behind the stall strip. Back in the cockpit now, and we go a little deeper into the stall, slowing her down a bit. Getting a pretty good onset of the buffet at this point. Again, this is no flap. And here we go. Starting to get separation there by the fuel cap, just inboard of the fuel cap. There she goes. A little separation on the ailerons. Pretty good buffet going on at this point. I don't believe I got a shot of the altimeter, but I'm sure it's unwinding pretty good at this point. We're kind of on an elevator ride at that point. That was moderate power, flaps off stall. All right, here's our first flap stall, and I want you to tell me what I did wrong. Right there, see a problem with that? Which way did that airplane go? Here's another view. I want you to think about where we're going to be in a flaps down situation with high power on the engine coming off the water, right? If you drop that left wing and try and pick it up with right aileron, here's what happens. I'm going to slow the video down here. And we're approaching the stall. See, I'm adding right aileron at this point, dropping that left wing, so I still have good aileron authority at this point. Now it's wanting to drop that left wing more. I've got full right aileron, full right rudder, and that wing, that left wing was still dropping. You see that right wing came up a bit. Now at this point, the aileron has the roll stopped. But what do you think is going to happen if I continue to increase the angle of attack with that full right aileron deflection? Are my ailerons going to become more effective or less effective? Probably less effective. I've got that left aileron down hanging in the breeze at full right aileron, creating a lot of adverse yaw, and that's only going to aggravate that stall. I'm going to pause the video and show you a YouTube video that possibly illustrates the danger of trying to pick up a stalled wing with aileron. And I'll also open up the floor for questions, comments, and discussion. Okay, in this segment of video, we're going to take a look at a maximum performance course reversal as an emergency procedure. We'll start with a power off empty course reversal, followed by a power on course reversal, which is basically a steep turn. And finally, we'll move on to the loaded emergency course reversal. Hope you enjoy this. All right, this is our power off course reversal. We're basically simulating that we're going to have an engine failure here in just a minute. We're real slow, maybe trying to cross a ridge line. Engine quits, dump the nose, turn, flaps, going to full flaps. I've only got about a 35 degree angle of bank there, because at that airspeed I can't bank anymore. Now as I'm gaining airspeed, I can ask a little more of the wing, give it a little more bank. I'm riding that buffet. I go right to the buffet and then I back off of it. As soon as I feel a buffet, I back off and I ride that buffet all the way around. In this maneuver, I think we lost about 1,000 feet. Probably could have done a little bit better than that, but I did start really slow at the top. So So at the onset of the maneuver, I really couldn't ask much bank of the aircraft. Here's a wing view of that same turn. We're slowing down, and slow enough we're getting a little bit of separation. Engine quits, push the nose down, see the stall on the aileron. Pushing that nose down, you see a little separation happening, and then I back off a bit and you get readhesion. And I'm pulling a little harder, getting a little bit of separation. Now readhesion. So I'm backing off as soon as I feel that buffet. And at this point, we're rolling out and recovered. And that's starting empty, very slow at the top. Here are the results of that turn. We had a 1,545 foot radius. And here's the ForeFlight 3D rendition. We had a 1,000 foot altitude loss and a 15 foot radius turn. And you can see 47, 48, 4,700 feet, lose the engine, start the turn. We're turning. And now we're recovered at 3,700 feet, so about 1,000 feet of altitude loss. All right, this is the second turn. This is basically just a steep power turn because we're simulating that you're coming up on a ridge line or on your box canyon. You don't like what you see. We're keeping the power in. We did not have an engine failure. You notice I can bank a lot steeper because I had more airspeed going into it. I got power on the engine. I'm almost to a 60-degree bank here. Again, I'm full flaps going right up to the buffet and backing off of the buffet. I think we lost 100 feet altitude. That was just piss poor pilot technique right there, but you could actually have done that as a flat turn. There's our little bit of separation in the root, a little bit on the flaps, right behind the stall strips on the wing. Notice there's not quite as much separation. We had a little more airspeed going into it. We got power on the engine. Just had a little separation behind the stall strips there. And here's the ForeFlight imagery of that same turn. The power turn started the maneuver at about 4,800 feet, and we're turning, and we're at 4,740 feet. So I guess we lost 50 or 75 feet there. The radius of that turn was pretty good, actually, 1,069 feet. That's turning it around pretty quick. Of course, the benefit of power on. And I just threw this in here because I think it's cool footage. We came to the lake and grabbed a load, and then we're going to show you a few stalls with the load on the airplane, or imminent stalls. And yeah, it's a pretty scoop. A little choppy that day. Zipping right along there. Ooh, he looks scared. Boom. Oh, looking at the gauges. Yeah, everything's good. We're flying. No, not yet. Now we're flying. No. Now we're flying. It's a pretty cool angle right there. Now a message from one of our sponsors.
Fly a lot closer to the crops and to the clouds.
Nobody said this couldn't be fun.
You know it's Miller time. Time to head for the best.
My all-time favorite beer commercial.
America's quality beer, Miller High Life.
And there's that. All right, in the next clip, I'm going to demonstrate the EP course reversal following a simulated engine failure of a loaded FireBoss at low airspeed and high angle of attack. We're back in the cockpit now, and our airspeed is degrading. We got a lot of power on the engine. We're climbing, maybe trying to cross a ridge line. We're starting to get a little slow. Boom, the engine quits. Dump that load, pitch hard forward. You got to recover airspeed to be able to get any turn performance out of this thing. So we're at full flaps at this time, and it's just like the previous maneuvers. We're going right up to the buffet and backing off, right up to the buffet and backing off. And Continuing the turn around. Going, and there we are recovered. Course reversal complete. Here's the side cockpit view of that same scenario. You see I'll roll the throttle off with my left hand there in just a second. Okay, there goes the engine. Hit the dump handle. Lots of pitch. Got an actual stall buffet you'll see on the wing as soon as I dumped that load because I was already so slow. Banked. Lots of flap, full flap. Again, up to the buffet, off the buffet, up to the buffet, off the buffet. Excuse me. And we are 180 degrees at that point, roll wings level, and we're recovered. And another cool shot here. High angle of attack, low airspeed, engine quits. Boom, let's get rid of that load. Pushing that nose hard over. See the flaps coming in there. And we're turning. We're at full flaps. Again, up to the buffet, back off the buffet. Up to the buffet, back off the buffet. Here's the wing. You can actually see the load come off the airplane right there. See that stall that happened right as I hit the dump handle? There's the flaps coming in, got a little buffet going on the inboard wing. Off the buffet, I got readhesion again. Little buffet, off the buffet. And we're turned around and recovered. There's a 4-flight rendition of that. About 5,030 feet. And we're recovered. 4,220 feet. So about an 800-foot altitude loss and a 1,900-foot radius of turn. Now I'm going to take a second to compare the E-dump course reversal numbers that you just saw in that demo with my catastrophic engine failure and subsequent course reversal in 2018. This is the 4-flight rendition again. We're at 5,350 feet and the engine quits right about here. I dumped the load, I called my mayday, I pitched the nose over. I'm at 135 knots here, so I had the benefit of extra airspeed at the onset of this maneuver. So I'm turning, airspeed is degrading. You might as well say that's airspeed because this was a no-wind day. We're turning, I'm kind of getting a little concerned about smacking the planet Earth right there. So I tighten up the turn a bit, up to the buffet. And at this point, we are complete with the turn, 4,456 feet, and an 880-foot altitude loss and a 2,062-foot radius of turn. And as you can see, the numbers are very close in comparison. The E-dump demo yielded an 800-foot altitude loss and a 1,900-foot radius of turn, and the actual emergency yielded an 880-foot loss in altitude and a turn radius of 2,062 feet. Now, after seeing the 4-flight rendition of the real emergency course, the real emergency course reversal, is there any doubt that this EP course reversal saved my ass that day? All right, I thank y'all for watching. Now I'll open up the floor for discussion.